CBSE Board, Class 9, History, Chapter 1, Part 4, audio by Renee Matthew. There was a big group which was emerging in the French Revolution. Just immediately after that, a great change was brought about a particular group. Shall we see which particular group brought about a drastic change which led to the Great Reformation? In the past, peasants and workers had participated in revolts against increasing taxes and food scarcity. So it's not that the peasants and workers did not involve or participate in revolt, expressing their discrimination, expressing their unhappiness with the government or the monarch in those days. But they lacked one thing. They were not able to carry the program in a full-fledged manner which would bring about a change. They lacked the means and programs. Means they did not have the adequate facilities to carry out these in full-scale measures that would bring about a change in the social and economic order. It's not enough that you just respond or revolt against a particular problem or a crisis, but you should be able to suggest some practical methods so that a change will be implemented in both the social and economic order of the society. This was left to those groups within the Third Estate who had become prosperous. So there was a small group which was emerging in the Third Estate. We saw peasants, businessmen, and some other people who were belonging to the Third Estate who really worked as the professionals. So a small group was becoming really prosperous in spite of all these taxes. Because of their trade, they became really famous, they became prosperous, and they also had access to education and new ideas. When you get educated, you get innovative, you get new ideas, and you become skilled. So this small group was becoming very prosperous and they started emerging. They had the means and programs to carry out this in a full-fledged manner. So I told you that before the 18th century, no major changes took place. Now, the 18th century witnessed the emergence of social groups termed the middle class. The middle class is very important, who earned their wealth through an expanding overseas trade. So you saw that there were merchants, there were so many people who were a part of this middle class, and they got their wealth through an expanding overseas trade. So when you trade with other parts of the world, you get a lot of ideas, you get access to different culture, and you get access to different people, the means of trade and everything. You get exposure, in short. So from the manufacture of goods such as woolen and silk textiles that was either exported or brought by the richer members of society. So these things we saw were very costly in those days, even now. So manufacturing these materials was a big task. So when the merchants took over it, they got prosperous, they got wealthy and had access to education and new ideas. In addition to merchants and manufacturers, the Third Estate included whom? Professions such as lawyers or administrative officials. So apart from lawyers, apart from administrative officials, we have who else? We have got merchants, we have got people who were businessmen. So all these four positions of the Third Estate started emerging as the middle class. All of these were educated. So lawyers, administrative officials means they are a part of the administrative session, right? So they could get hold of the government or whatever was happening in those days. So different layers of the society, and they were educated and believed that no group in society should be privileged by birth. So I told you earlier that when you're born into a peasant family, you have to work. It's your birth which decides your destiny. Was that a fair idea? No, it was not a fair idea. Your birth decided your destiny. So this particular group, that is the middle class, did not believe that the birth decided their destiny. Rather, a person's social position must depend on his merit. What do you mean by merit? All that you gather during your lifetime, all the good things that you do will come back to you. Merit means the skill, the education, the access to new ideas. All these things should decide the position and not the birth. It was not a fair idea. That is what is the meaning of this particular sentence. These ideas envisaging a society. So when ideas come about, they will envisage a particular society based on freedom and equal laws and opportunities for all were put forward by philosophers such as John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Can you see the pictures of both the philosophers beneath at the bottom of the screen? John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau. These two people were very important. Even in literature, you can see that they wrote a lot of books which influenced different branches of study like philosophy, sociology, literature, and all these fields. So they were visioning a society. They were giving form to a new society which granted freedom, equal law, and opportunities for everybody. That was their vision, to give full opportunity on the basis of equality. So the first point, in his Two Treatises of Government, that is a book which is written by Locke. It is a very important work by Locke which really manipulated and influenced many people in different branches of study. Locke sought to refute the doctrine of the divine and absolute right of the monarch. So what do you mean by monarchy? The king will get all the right to rule. It was a despotic style of ruling. We saw that in the destruction of the people during the Bastille war or the Bastille riot. So the monarch had all the right, absolute right, complete control over that particular nation. It was the doctrine of divine. So it was a divine rule which was entrusted to the king, the monarch. If you become the king, you get all the power. You can control anybody. You can take any decision. It's not necessary that you have to consult with everybody. So these were the powers. So that was something which Locke refuted. Refute means completely disagree with. So that was disagreed in this particular book. Now Rousseau. Rousseau carried the idea forward, proposing a form of government based on a social contract between people and their representatives. So he was proposing a form of government that was based on a social contract. A social contract means a kind of agreement between the people and their representatives. Representative means through vote you will elect a few representatives. So there will be some kind of contract between the people and the representatives. That is something which Rousseau envisioned. In the spirit of the laws, Montesquieu proposed a division of power within the government between the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. So this particular thinker, Montesquieu, in the book called Spirit of the Laws, he is the one who brought into existence these three terms that we see in civics, the subject civics: legislative, executive, and the judiciary. Till then it was the power of the monarch. The monarch was the absolute ruler. So this was the division: legislature, executive, and the judiciary. From where did they get this influence? This model of government was put into force in the USA after the 13 colonies declared their independence from Britain. So we saw that France helped America to free their 13 colonies from Britishers, from Britain. So this model of government, which was envisioned by Locke, by Rousseau, and by Montesquieu, was immediately put into action where? In USA. The American Constitution and its guarantee of individual rights was an important example for political thinkers in France. So first it came into action in USA, and that really influenced everybody, especially in France. Now, all these ideas which were proposed by the philosophers were discussed widely in saloons and coffee houses. The saloons are not the ones that we see today, where we go for hair cutting and other beauty services. Saloons were places where people used to get together to discuss a lot of things. It is not just sitting there and relaxing, because we never had any form of entertainment in those days. So we usually wonder, right? People from the 18th, 16th, 17th and 19th century usually wrote so much. They read extensively. It is because they never had any other forms of entertainment. They never had any other exposure which actually influenced them to write, to think, to philosophize, to do so much for the society. So these discussion intensively took place in saloons and coffee houses. We usually see this particular saying, a lot can happen over a coffee. So this is something which actually emerged from those times, where when you sit in the coffee houses, when you have a coffee, you have a chat with a thinker or a philosopher. And it is not the chats that we have in the modern days now. It was something where they revised, where they recollected, where they thought about these issues that were faced by the people. Even now we have such things, but they discussed books and newspapers. They used to share the insights from books and newspapers. That is how people just had a great insight to these kind of things. These were frequently read aloud in groups. So people used to read aloud in groups, so that suppose you haven't got access to one particular book, you can listen to it for the benefit of those who did not read and write. And one more reason was there were people who never knew how to read and write, for the illiterate. So people used to read. Only very minute portion of the society could read and write. Others couldn't, so they used to read it for them. The news that Louis XVI planned to impose further taxes to be able to meet the expenses of the state generated anger and protest against a system of privileges. So this particular news was circulating, and people got together in saloons and coffee houses, and it just generated anger and protest. So what do we see from here? We can see that most of the discussions and revolt took form in the saloons and coffee houses. So when we have earthquakes, you must have learned in geography that you have got an epicenter where the tremors actually generate from. So here also you can see that these tremors for books and newspapers generated from the saloons and coffee houses. It generated anger and protest. The outbreak of the revolution. So when Louis decided to impose further taxes to meet the expenses of the state, the outbreak of the revolution took place. Louis XVI had to increase taxes for reasons you have learned in the previous section. That is for what? For getting the produce, for increasing the price of the bread, by restricting lot of changes in the necessities, basic necessities and all that. How do you think he could have gone about doing this? How did he do this? In France of the old regime, the monarch did not have the power to impose taxes according to his will alone. So according to the new system, the monarch did not have any right to impose taxes without discussing with a particular group. So this is the major change which was taken by the old regime. Rather, he had to call a meeting of the Estates General, which would then pass his proposals for new taxes. So this was the major change, where they had to call a group of people called the Estates General. That is, they were the representatives from different estates. We saw first estate, second estate and third estate. So they got people from the different estates where they had to discuss and then only propose for new taxes. Now, what is the Estate General? It was a political body to which the three estates sent their representatives. However, the monarch alone could decide when to call a meeting of this body. The last time it was done was in 1614. So there was already a rule even before Louis XVI came into power. When did he come? When he was just 20 years old. There was a rule which said that the king will have to call people from Estate General, call for a meeting, and then he will have to discuss with them and then propose for the new taxes. Now, when was this done last? In 1614. After that, Louis did not do anything like that. He did not call for any meeting And after that, what happened? He just imposed taxes according to his own will. Now people were looking into it. Old regime was looking into it.